I'm going to show you how you can make a $1,000 eBay flip in just a few weeks on something that anybody watching this can purchase online. So stay tuned for that. This is going to come in the context of the top 10 most expensive and most profitable items that sold in my eBay store in the month of October 2021. So we are going to start over here. Technically, it's really going to be 11 because there's four items this month that sold at this $70 price or $69.99. We're going to start off with the Poly Pigtails comics lot from the 1940s. There's a lot of 6 of them that you could see here. So just 6 of them selling for $70. I'm very happy with that. You may remember me sourcing them over here on this video. This is the one where I bought 2 boxes of mostly magazines for $20 a box. And so this wound up paying for everything and putting me in profit. Just 6 comics slash magazines from the box. I talk about it more in the video if you're interested in it. But this is really a blend of comic material inside of it, and also there are regular articles. So there's articles about fashion, there's articles about sports and movies and Girl Scouts and stuff. So if you ever come across these, definitely pick them up, because there are people out there who are nostalgic for this type of material, or people buying them for older relatives who had this when they were younger and they want to reunite them with the material. So as you can see there, I'm just flipping through, showing a few examples. But if you want to see the whole video, I will link to it up top. So Poly Pigtails, definitely something to look out for right over there. All right, so let's go to our next item here, and this is Witchblade. So Witchblade is a popular comic series. They actually did make it into a TV show back in the day. You may remember seeing it. It's back in around 2001, 2002. And Witchblade is actually named after this gauntlet that Sarah Pizzini uses in the series, and it gives her, special powers and stuff like that. But very popular character in comic books. And this is actually a book that I had picked up through a local source that I have, who has connections with promotional items that come through in the comic industry. It's a really good relationship that I have with him. I keep making these amazing deals with him, and you never know, when I get stuff from him and I open the cover, once in a while I will find something like this. Well, what is that? That is a signature. So a lot of pieces come to him signed by the artist. He doesn't even check them all, because he gets so much stuff that, he just gives this stuff to me in a big box. And so it's often a surprise for me when I flip this open. And it's a signature by Mark Silvestri. And why is that relevant? Here's another close-up of it, because Mark Silvestri is one of the co-creators or founders of Witchblade. And so he runs Top Cow Comics. And so it's great to have his signature on this. And so as a result, that really helped to increase the value of this book. And it's basically a compilation book inside, as you could see here. I like to include a photo sometimes. So as you could see here, it's the character, nice glossy pages. Sold for $70. So this is just in a massive box of stuff that I get from this guy. And so yeah, this is profit for what I paid for the entire box of stuff. So, but definitely look out for the Witchblade character. And yes, we will show some other items here that are not comic related, in case you are wondering. But we do have another comic item here, and I've talked a lot about Deadpool in the past, so you do want to look out for that character. But what I really want to point out for this is, these are a special type of comic lot that was put out in the 1990s by Marvel. Now, they didn't just put out this series, they put out other ones. But what you want to look for is, you see this, they came in a box. Almost like what you would see in like a box of trading cards, yet there's comic books inside of them. And you could see up top, there's like a little hook where you would hook it onto like a peg on a shelf. And that's where they would hang sometimes. And so this is what the back of it would look like. And it'll tell you all the details about the books inside if you don't want to pull them out. The Deadpool one is really hard to find. They gave them different names. This one is called the Marvel Premier Collectors Pack. but be on the lookout for this stuff. I never show this in a sourcing video because, frankly, I'm getting so much stuff, and I just don't have time to put all the stuff onto video. But this actually came from my Craigslist ad that I've talked about a bunch, in which I say I'm looking for comic collections and other collectibles. Guy reached out to me, and I was amazed. He actually made me the deal that I would have, kind of tried to negotiate. Was what he said were 350 comic books for $50, and this technically counted for one of the comic books. So imagine that, right? This counts as one technical comic book for him, but there's actually several of them inside. I get 350 of them for $50. I sell just this for the $70. And that's what you're really looking for to make these, big flips and to make a lot of money on the bulk stuff that you're picking out, is getting these types of bulk deals. I do this at estate sales and in private deals and in garage sales. And speaking of garage sales, this, as some of you may remember, if you saw my recent video of my best garage sale find ever. Well, this was part of it, part of my best haul ever in a garage sale. This is Delaney and Bonnie. This is from the 1970s. It's a black and white promo poster. These were posters that would hang in the record stores back in the day. Some of them were put out by Warner Brothers. Some of them were put out through Capitol Records. It just depends. Usually they would have a logo down on the bottom left for Capitol Records, but the issue here, as you could see, is this bottom left part is sheared off. So I think a lot of people who saw this might have thought, well, this is just not going to sell because it's too damaged. But this is where rarity comes into play. Okay, you're just not going to come across something like this often, and as a result, people will still pay up for it. I've gotten positive feedback on this item from this guy. Paid $70 for the item. If you remember, I picked up 20 cardboard posters like this for $25. All sorts of different rock and roll ones, jazz ones, all sorts of things. So it's all in the video if you want to, see all of them. But another key here is with respect to the damage. So one of the things you have to factor in is whether or not the damage is going into the actual thing that is the main image, that is what people want to collect and display, because someone could take this if they want, and you could trim this. I mean, you could trim that off, or depending on how crafty you are, you may be able to even do some type of restoration on it. And I'll say something like that in the description section if someone wants to do this. It's funny because I was actually flipping through a Rolling Stone, an old Rolling Stone magazine from the 1970s the other day, and I came across a Delaney and Bonnie, or Bonnie and Delaney advertisement. So it's just weird when that kind of stuff happens. So there you go. That's $70 sale right there. Very, very happy with it. And here's another one from that same lot. This is a $90 sale. I know some people watch the video we're hoping that they could get this one, but it had already sold. Allman Brothers Band, 1970s. That's the only thing I could suggest, is just check my eBay store. The link is in the description section and on top of my YouTube channel, because I'm putting stuff up there every day. So just go check throughout the day, and you never know what I'm going to put up there. Now this one has the corner sheared on the top right, but yeah, that doesn't really make that big of a deal. It's not even that noticeable compared to the other poster. And you have a little bit of some top paper layer loss there on the bottom, but the main image here is, again, what people really want. I mean, that's just an incredible image of the band sitting out there in the woods, and you have the name on it as well. So that one sold for $90, came from the same lot I showed earlier. This one here, just to show you the diversity of items that I try to sell in my store, which is what helps me throughout the year, just continuing to stay active and making healthy sales, is having a diversity of items. This is a Santa Claus item through Syracuse University. For those of you who don't know, I do live in Syracuse, New York. But that's really not the point so much for this item. I mean, yes, it's sold partly because it's Syracuse, but what I want you to keep in mind, no matter where it is that you live, is I want you to make sure that you are looking for Danbury Mint items that are associated with a sports team, because if you look up comps of Danbury Mint collectibles like this that are associated with college sports teams, you are going to see that they sell very well. They will usually sell for over $100. I picked this up for just a few bucks at an estate sale. I was trying to find the video where I found it, but I couldn't locate it. But it's in there somewhere in the archives. So now here you can see, now even if it has like a little bit of discoloration or a little bit of wear on it, it's okay. In terms of shipping this, I double box things like this. The flag would be kind of tricky because you don't want that to snap off. That's not like a paper flag. That's like a hard plastic, so you don't want that to snap. What I'll do is I'll take two flaps of cardboard and I'll cover the flag like that. Any pieces like that are going to jut out or be easily breakable, I'll try to cover those up with some extra protection to make sure that it doesn't snap off. Because one little mistake like that, and you're going to get a return. So there you go. That's $100 sale for something that I picked up for just a few bucks in the States. I think it was like $3 or something. All right, this is another one of those posters. This is Pharoah Sanders. This is one of the things that convinced me to pick up the lot, because when I saw this, I said, just from this pose, which, if you know about Pharoah Sanders, he likes to use a lot of spirituality in his music. And this just evokes a lot of spirituality right here, just in the way he's sitting and just the way he looks. It's just such a great photo. And it's not something that you see often. This is not one of those that's a common one. And so, and it has his name, but it's written, small on the bottom there, but it still does say it, which does help. It's not a ton of damage, a few little rips and stuff, but really not much. That one sold for $200. Now, even if you don't come across this particular Pharoah Sanders poster, you might come across other black and white posters like this. They're made out of cardboard, so they don't roll up, so they do have to be shipped flat. I do have several videos on how to ship posters and art prints flat, so make sure you check out my shipping playlist for that type of information. But anything that's Pharoah Sanders related tends to really sell well, particularly if you come across old albums, CDs, that type of stuff. Be on the lookout for that name, Pharoah Sanders, for sure. That's definitely a good one. And then this was another one that sold very well. This was the Alice Coltrane one. I mean, this is amazing. Now, I have a John Coltrane one right now currently for sale for $900 that has several watchers on it. So we'll see how that one does. That one will probably show up in a future video. But $300 for Alice Coltrane. I mean, I am really happy with this. I mean, she's just, just looking off. Again, they did a lot of these. If you notice, there's a theme where they did a lot of these promo posters in the woods, in the forest, and people like that kind of stuff, and it does give it a cool look. There you could see her name is on the bottom. When I saw this, I said, I know someone's gonna want to get this. I mean, she's a legendary person in music, and so you can see the dimensions there, 24 by 30. Easy to ship. All these, by the way, despite that they look like, oh, it's really big, 24 by 30, because they're long and thin, all of these things cost about $10 to ship once you pack them up. And again, just check out my videos for the packing techniques to use for that. This is just a little teaser. If you didn't see this, this is the Jerry Garcia poster and all the other posters that came from that lot. So if you want to see all of them, and you can see how damaged that Jerry Garcia one is, which I highlighted last month, that one sold for $212.50. And there you could see the damage right there. But this goes to show exactly what I was talking about again, which is that the main part of the image, there's really not a lot of damage there. And that's the thing that you want to focus on. What is the main thing people want? And, is there a lot of damage to the image? If not, you'll probably be good to go, even if there's damage on the periphery. So there's the Allman Brothers band one as well. And then there's, more of them if you want to go in and look for more stuff. So, okay, let's go on to the next item here. One of my favorite series of all time, He-Man, Masters of the Universe. So one of the things that I look for, I look to try to buy production cells, animation cells. And you can see this one here came with a certificate of authenticity. Now, I actually showed this once a while ago when I sourced it, when I did a show with Don the Auction Professor. So it's really cool. You could see here that there's some markings on the bottom, which if you decode them, they basically tell you what episode, what series that they're in. So you could do a little research, look it up. I sourced this for $100 at online auction, technically $107, and wound up flipping it for $325. Now, this was more of a long haul item. I had to wait a while on this one, but it was worth the wait. I knew someone was eventually going to get it, particularly because there was the troll and wizard in the background, and I thought that people would like that as well as like a little added feature. Also, what I like to do is you could see here, this is the actual animation cell right here. And then what I also like to do is I like to try to find the clip in the series where it came from and then just put the photo up of that. So if you could match it up with where it actually came from the video, which you could find online, like all these He-Man episodes, a lot of the cartoon ones you could find online, take a little screenshot with your phone or on your computer, and then just put it into your listing. That will help a lot. So definitely look for animation cells. They're unique, and people like to get them for that reason, especially if they come with a COA. That really does help also. The next one here is a comic related one. And this is just another way you could try to sell comics, is try to sell them by complete series. That's harder to do when you are dealing with series in which there's over 100 of them, but this is the full set of Alpha Flight. Now, I obtained most of these in a big comic collection haul. So there was one box that was mostly filled with these Alpha Flights in them. Now, it turns out that there were two of the issues that were missing. And what I suggest doing in situations like this is just buy them. Buy those two issues to complete your set. Don't list it as 128 missing two. It totally pays off. I think I spent $10 to get both of the issues to replace them. And so I put them into the lot, and there you go. Wound up being a $330 sale. These things, as part of the comic collection haul that I did, I wound up getting these for about 15 cents a piece back in the day. I waited a little bit on these because Alpha Flight traditionally had not really been a popular series. There are a zillion Alpha Flights around. But as I keep saying with comic book stuff, just wait around, and eventually these days something will happen with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and these characters and series might become more popular. And that's exactly what it looks like is going on with Alpha Flight. There's a lot of speculation about Alpha Flight becoming more prominent in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and as such, people are looking to invest in series like this. And frankly, it's hard. It's hard to find a whole series of all 130 Alpha Flights. So this is one of the advantages of buying out people's comic book collections at that kind of price, because wow, you can make this kind of sale. And that leads me to my last item, the $1,000 eBay flip in just a few weeks. So let me take you through this, okay? So I bought this comic book on an online auction. Anyone could have purchased on this online auction for $400, and then I flipped it for $1,400. Now, yes, of course, there's fees and stuff associated with it, but still, to make that kind of flip within a few weeks, I am very happy with it. For those who are unfamiliar, this is a graded comic book. So you could see that because it's encapsulated in the slab. People always ask me when I show these, did I send it out to CGC to get it graded, or did I buy it graded? No, I bought it graded. And so this has a yellow label on top. And when it's a yellow label through CGC, what that means is that there is a verified signed signature by a CGC representative. Well, who signed it? Well, Joe Giella signed it. And that's important because Joe Giella did some of the work, some of the art in this comic. It actually says that on the top left by the notes. It will tell you who did the art in the comic, who did the cover art, and it will tell you who did writing, and it will tell you anything significant on the book on the right, which it says Penguin appearance, which is pretty obvious here, from the uh, front cover here. You could see we've got the penguin. So there's several things that drew me into it. One, not only that it's graded, but this happens to be the single highest graded signed copy of this book. That's a distinction, not the single highest that was ever graded, period, but the single highest graded signed version. If you go into the CGC census online, you type in the book, you look it up, it will divide it out and break it out in terms of signed versions, non-signed versions, restored versions, all that kind of stuff. And so this is popular for that reason. Also, Joe Giella is really getting up there in age. He probably won't be around much longer. So as a result of that, people will invest in that because they know there's not going to be many more signatures on the market for Joe Giella, and he is a famous comic book artist. So that number two is something that people will factor in because you have to think about how are your buyers going to think about it as well. The other thing is that it's really nice, bright, colorful, old comic book. Okay, so this one comes from 1967, and you could see all of this action and stuff that's going on. And we've got the main characters here. We've got Batman and Robin. They're getting attacked by colorful things. Anything that has fire on it, sparks, green mists, and things like that. All the bright colors, the purple, the red, the yellow. And now, obviously, if you just see a regular comic book that's graded and it has bright colors, that doesn't mean you should get it. It's a combination of all these different factors. Now, another thing that is very important is that there is going to be a penguin series. A penguin series on a TV series is going to be coming out. That was announced probably days or maybe a week or so before I actually made this purchase. And I actually use an app. It's called Key Collectors Comic App. Now, there's a free version, there's a paid version. I'm not trying to sell it to you here. I don't get any commission or anything like that. But I use it, and it has alerts that come across on my phone throughout the day about relevant comic news. And I saw the alert come through about Penguin. And so, the reason I'm telling you this is that I had that in the back of my head when I saw this at the auction, and I said, you know what? Based on what's happening with these comic series and comic movies, um, things are shooting up in value if those types of series or movies become popular. So, pretty good chance that the Penguin one will be popular since he's such an iconic character. And I also figure that someone would know that as well, who's looking to buy books like this, will invest in something like this for 1400, and they might hope that it goes up beyond that eventually, and it very well might be. So, again, I can't complain. $1,000 eBay flip in just a few weeks after I listed it and purchased it, listed it the next day that I got it, or same day that I got it, and there you go. There's the sale right there. So that's basically it, folks. Anyone can learn this stuff. You don't have to be a comic book expert. Anyone could pick up any new niche or niche. You just have to devote the time to it. I know, for example, Troy from Mountain Treasures, he's been doing very well, getting some of these comic books, investing into these graded books and flipping them. And he was getting some information from here in terms of helping him do that. And so anyone could do it. My goal is to hopefully inspire you by showing you some of these sales to break into all sorts of different niches or niches. So hopefully you found it helpful. Let me know what you thought was your favorite flip. Let me know in the comments section. Don't forget to check out the membership. Click the join button to learn more about that and all the perks. Make sure you subscribe as well. And I'll see you back the next video, everyone. Take care.